Hello and welcome back to the Turnstile. A great weekend to be an Arsenal fan. Must-win game for us away at Villa Park, and we finally managed to pull it out of the bag. Obviously, very difficult game coming off the back of a couple of dodgy results. Obviously, we had the loss to Everton away. We had the draw against Brentford at home under difficult circumstances. Obviously, seeing Lee Mason losing his job over it. And then obviously we had the City game midweek where we didn't play horrendously. We did look like the best team for huge spells during the game. But eventually, I think our age and experience gave us away and we got found out. So a huge 3 points was needed. It wasn't about how we win the game. It was about getting the points on the board and getting back to winning ways. Confidence builds confidence. And that was more important than anything from this game. Going into it, obviously having Emi Martinez, the wind-up merchant, ex-Arsenal player, loves dragging us in the media. Having Unai Emery, ex-Arsenal coach, who had a torrid time at the club, all over there. It was a huge concern. It was going to be Arsenal have fallen off, they've bottled it, ex-players, ex-managers, just making us a bit of a laughing stock. So there was a lot of nerves before the game. Seeing Trossard in the starting lineup I thought was brilliant. I think Gabriel Martinelli really does need a rest. He looks knackered, and to be honest with you, I think the chemistry between him and Eddie Nketiah isn't helping himself at all. I think when he plays alongside Gabriel Jesus, there's a lot more movement. He can sort of get into his own a little bit more. I think he's really struggling at the minute. So seeing Trossard come in was massive. Terrible start to the game, obviously going 1-0 down within the first 5 minutes. Sloppy from Zinchenko, giving the ball away. Great player, absolutely love him. I think in the last few games, he's been very, very sloppy on the ball. Great in possession, but when he's passing it, he seems to be giving possession away a lot of the time. Great ball from Matty Cash over the top. Again, great finish by Ollie Watkins. Can't take anything away from that at all. But we've responded perfectly. We didn't let the heads drop. We went straight back down the other end. 10 minutes later, Saka's finding the back of the net with an absolute rocket. So, starting to build a little bit more confidence. Again, as it kicked off, it seemed like we just couldn't get the passes stringing together. One thing that I pointed out to a friend of mine the other day was I remember when we played Chelsea away at Stamford Bridge, there was a small passage of play when we were on the edge of our own box. It was a bit of tick-attack of football. I think Ben White flicks it through his own legs and we break away. At the minute, it just seems the passes are a little bit too heavy or a little bit wayward. The first touch bounces up a little bit and it allows a little bit more extra pressure. And I think that is purely down to confidence. We're playing the same style of football in the same way, but that little bit of flair, bit of confidence is just lacking. And I think if we go on a run of games now where we pick up a couple of points, we'll start to see that coming back, and we need to. In terms of the performance as a whole, obviously coming after the City game, it was huge to see us dig ourselves out of a hole. Obviously, we got hit on the counter-attack by Villa. Great goal by Coutinho. I think Ben White steps up a little bit too early, gambles it, gets caught out. Brilliant cross in. Great dummy by Buendia. And a great finish by Coutinho. You can't really argue with that. Going back up the other end, second half, I think we came out a lot livelier. We started to string a few passes together and we looked like we wanted it. And I think that's the main thing. Arteta's got the belief in the team. He knows that we've got it in us to go and win the game, and he really pushed for it. Great finish by Zinchenko for the equaliser. Not a huge fan of the short corners, but then I also understand that we don't have a lot of height in the box. You've got Saliba, you've got Gabriel, but essentially there's nobody in there that's going to be dominating that penalty area. So I do understand it. Like I say, great cutback, great bit of space found by Zinchenko, and a beautiful finish. First Premier League goal as well, which I find surprising considering that he played for Man City for so many years, drifted into that midfield role. I thought he might have had one or two. But first Premier League goal for him. And then what a way to finish the game. Jorginho from range, the ex-Chelsea player that they were laughing at us for taking, getting Arsenal back into a title race. I can't remember a better diving header since Robin van Persie in the World Cup. What a finish by Emi Martinez into the back of his own goal. Obviously, got the bit between his teeth after that, completely disobeyed his manager, decides he's going to go up and be the hero, only for it to fall flat on its face. Martinelli to hit him on the counter-attack, starts celebrating before he's even scored. puts it into the back of an empty net. I think 4-2 is a flattering scoreline for us. I don't think we played the best football. But as the common saying goes, it's a sign of champions. When you're not playing well, to dig out that result by hook or by crook. And that's exactly what we did. We've said there's no easy games. We've got a tough run of fixtures coming up, starting with Leicester away next weekend. Obviously, we saw them get dismantled by Man United today. Although for the first 35 minutes, I would say Leicester looked like the better team. I think once they got that goal, they really deflated and the floodgates opened. And that's something that we're quite good at. We seem to start games quite strongly. So I think if we can go away, hit Leicester early doors, we should see a result there. Obviously, we know that Manchester City, they're away to Bournemouth. You would expect that to be an easy 3 points for them. But after this weekend, it just proves there are no easy games in this Premier League. They've gone away to Nottingham Forest, dropped 2 points, and it's allowed us to go 2 points clear at the top with a game in hand still. When you look down the table, you think you've got teams such as sort of Fulham and Brighton all fighting for these Europa Conference League spaces. You've got Brentford up there. Then you look a little bit further down, you've got your Liverpools and your Chelseas. There's no game in this season that's a given 3 points. Maybe Southampton, Bournemouth. You'd like to think that you'd turn them over. Maybe Nottingham Forest as well. I mean, looking at Chelsea's result, maybe Southampton isn't such an easy game. What's going on over there? The amount of money that they've spent, they seem to be getting worse by the day. I feel really sorry for Graham Potter because I think he is a great manager. I think Chelsea have gone to the approach of we'll just keep throwing enough at the wall. You buy enough, you throw enough at the wall, something is eventually going to stick. They will manage to buy their way out of trouble, but for now, it looks dire over there. I think they've given Graham Potter a load of individuals. They've got them all together. I don't think he's had too much say in them. I could be totally wrong there. They've just said, look, here's all your players, make it work. And if you don't make it work, somebody else will. So I think his days really are numbered at Chelsea. Big result for Spurs today as well, winning 2-0 against West Ham. West Ham not in the best form. Obviously, yesterday we saw Newcastle get taken apart by Liverpool. A bit of madness from Nick Pope handling the ball, getting himself out of that cup final. Don't know what he's doing there. He's completely misjudged the header. Moment of madness, and it could look costly for Newcastle, obviously having Dubravka cup tied, and Karius is going to be the one stepping in, and we've seen how he fares in cup finals. But yeah, Arsenal's next few fixtures, like I say, we've got Leicester away, Everton at home. You'd expect that to be a win, especially after the result that we had when we went over to Merseyside. You think that we'd owe them one, followed by Bournemouth at home, Fulham away, Palace at home. Now, I would like to think that would be 5 wins on the bounce. With that, you're going to see confidence come back. You're just going to get that roll going, a bit more flair, a bit more belief. And you've got some players coming back from injury. Obviously, Jesus is almost back. Smith Rowe was on the bench the other day. And that's when, after that Palace game, it really starts to come into crunch time for us. There's going to be a lot of twists and turns. I don't rule Man United out of the title race as well. They're only a couple of points behind Man City now. So it's going to be interesting in the next couple of weeks. I think in terms of the lineup for the Leicester game, it's going to be pretty much the same. You might put Martinelli back in. Like I said, I think it would be better to start with Trossard. I really like Martinelli as an impact player. He's got a lot of pace to bring to the game. He really can make that change. If you've got Trossard giving you a horrible time for 70 minutes and then you see someone like Martinelli come on, it must send a shiver down your spine. So that's everything for this week. If you can leave any comments you've got, your opinions on the match, where you think Arsenal finished in the table, drop us a like, drop us a subscribe, and thank you again very much for listening.